this is Denise Damijo, and we have been working together for what now? A couple of years.
Yeah, so I think it's 2022. That's when we first
Right.
Yeah,
we just started the retreat center. We were trying to connect with the local practitioners. And one thing that led me to you was that I heard that you would do a lot of shamanic work and energy work. And you were talking about soul retrieval. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and how do you facilitate that?
Sometimes in life, we either come in fragments, like fragmented, like maybe something from our past, some part of us is not all the way here. And so we need to recollect that. We need to regather our whole entire spirit. So our whole entire authority could be in this life and together. It could also happen through traumatic events that happen throughout our experiences. And when we have those traumatic events, sometimes we don't know how to completely heal. When you do soul retrievals, it's bringing those fragments back together and helping a person be as one. Now, mind you, if you bring them back together, you have to make sure that you mend them so that they could stay. And that also sometimes means additional help or additional sessions with that particular person. But sometimes people may only have that one soul retrieval and think that everything is going to be okay, whereas they could get refragmented again. And so that's the sense of soul retrievals.
Is it different from inner child work?
Inner child work is, to me, a portion of it. And that's where I say that the different sessions are needed. Sometimes, it's just not about the soul retrieval. Me personally, I don't just do individual soul retrievals. I'm working with a client specifically for a few sessions, and we're working on different things. And if spirit shows me that they need a soul retrieval, then they need a soul retrieval. It's like a ceremony, really. And you have to have them to understand, and also you to understand. You need to honor that experience because it is a very sacred experience. You're touching a portion of their soul. You're touching their spirit.
Yeah. I've actually experienced some shamanic work, and I've had soul retrievals, and they are very powerful. And even some of the work in terms of ancestral healing is also very powerful. And it's some of those concepts are foreign to the Western way of thinking, but the Eastern traditions, especially the Vedic traditions that talk about reincarnation of our souls, it's part of what they believe in, and part of all the rituals and ceremonies that that are important to them. It's definitely something that gives us a different perspective on why we're here on Earth, and truly why our individual souls have specific lessons to learn at this specific lifetime.
Exactly.
Can you talk a little bit about your gifts of being a seer?
Oh, okay. So my gift of being a seer, I thought everybody had it. I truthfully thought everybody had these gifts. And so when they started to come up, I was about 5 years old. And I remember I was in the foyer of my dad's condo. And I'm the only child on my dad's side. And I was by myself all the time. He wasn't necessarily very inside of, playing with a girl, I wasn't a boy. So anyway, I was playing with like a train station. And then all of a sudden just said, "Hey, you're my daughter." And I'm like, "I am? You mean Jesus is my father?" And for the life of me, I could not understand how I was able to connect the two. And then he laughed and giggled, and he said, "Yeah, something like that." And he's like, "You have special powers, and you have gifts." That's what he said. "You have gifts." And I was like, "Really? Like Genie in the Aladdin?" And it was just so beautiful because he came down to my understanding. That's what my first conversation was. Now I've had dreams and everything else, and that came true, like dreams and stuff. And it started off like, oh, you're gonna do this flip on the monkey bars, and you're gonna do it 3 times. So I'll know that I did 1, 2, 3, and then jumped off and did this. And then the next day, it happened. And I was like, oh, that is super cool. And so I thought that it was just something that everybody had, and I just thought it was a cool trick. But then as I got older, it really started to redirect the way I thought, my perspective on things, such as when I was 16, I had this situation with a girl that was in the group home that I was in. And she did something really horrible to me. And so I decided that I wanted to get revenge. And I did something so-called really horrible to her. Well, at least I thought it was. And I got scolded for that. I got scolded so bad, like my spirit got scolded. You can't do that because you have a bigger responsibility. And I'm like, what? So you mean to tell me this person could do this to me and I can't do it to them? And so the reason why I'm saying this is that knowing my gifts as far as being a seer came with responsibilities. And I was able to be taught without an outside person how to maneuver through my gifts at a very young age. And that helped me to understand, number one, what these symbols and signs and these, my audio, because it's audio, visual, it's how I feel. I have like pretty much all the clairs. They come into play when I need them, or when I'm supposed to be shown something, or supposed to be, even having this conversation, a lot of these things, you know, of course there's a lot of experiences, but some things that may come about, I don't know. I get answers, I get guidance, and lo and behold, it's exactly the truth. That it comes from an ancient teaching, or it comes from an ancient way of life. And so my gifts are more so visual. I see pictures, sometimes clips, like a video or like something like that, a movie video. A lot of times, but it's symbols that could help me to understand what exactly it is. I remember back in 2018, that's when I saw these people from the mountains. They were superheroes. That's how I could only articulate them. Coming out from the mountains and underneath the rocks, and they were coming down, teaching us all of these different ancient ways. They were like superheroes. They were teaching us these superhero ways. And seeing it in today's age, even though that, you know, all I could pinpoint it as is X-Men. They were X-Men. That's all I could say, because they had all these different kinds of gifts. Seeing it in today's age is that people are rising up and coming out and teaching these ways and being more open and bringing more people in. And then as I see it in different shamanic places, such as the Maori, such as the Hunikuin, the Kuntanawa, the different places, the Dogon has been doing it for several years, is that these people coming out and teaching the ancient ways and opening up and helping people, humanity, expand and go to a higher level of consciousness and ascension. And so I get this information in advance, and then I also have to go through my own things. And as I'm going through these experiences that sometimes are very challenging, I'm able to get guidance, just like that voice told me I have a bigger responsibility and I can't do certain things. I get guidance.
So do you actually also talk to spirits, or can you communicate with the spiritual realm?
Yes, that's the short answer. When I go in, for instance, if I were to do a shamanic healing with you, I go in and it always can be different. When I first did my first soul retrieval, it was really, really different. It had these different kinds of beams of light coming in, and I was needing to gather them all up. It was a lot of anxiety, a lot of different things were coming out of that person's spirit, and I needed to help that person to regather themselves and basically recollect themselves. But that was totally different than somebody else where I did an experience for, and they were coming out of the muck. They were like stuck in the mud. Their being was stuck in the mud and they needed to get out. And so I do see these experiences, and yes, I can communicate, I guess you would say, with spirit, because anytime I ask a question, I get an answer. My gift used to be, okay, well, something, I would ask something or want to know something, it happens several days later or a week later or however long. Now it's 5 minutes or less that I get the answer, and it's consistently like that. So yeah, I guess you would say I do talk to what you would call a spirit.
Well, it was great having this conversation with you. I've always enjoyed being able to banter back and forth and feel like we understand each other, and hopefully we have given people some food for thought and an understanding of some of the things that we're hoping to bring into fruition in the near future to help people heal.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for inviting me. I always have such a wonderful time speaking with you and having these conversations, because I also learn so much about and get validation, So thank you so much, and I really truthfully hope that this does touch the hearts and the ears and minds of the people that needs it.
Well, thank you.